Hello and welcome back to another video on Wrestling and to another edition of NXT Out of 10. And yeah, big show today. We've got we're kind of building up to spring break in now, and we're standing over in the rearview mirror. We've got a triple threat tag team match, which kind of was a repeat of Stand and Deliver, which kicked us off. So let's get straight into that. And it was between Gallus, Creed, and Dyad for the tag belts. Wolfgang, Fowler, and Julius kicked off the match, and we got some drop kicks early on before Brutus was tagged in, and the Creeds were in control. The champs took Brutus out with a big crossbody before we got a series of suplexes. The match devolved into chaos before the Dyad sent Coffee into the steel set. Ava Rain then came in with a cheat shot, but the Dyad missed the Doomsday device before Fowler went down with a Brutus bomb. Gallus came back with a Boot of Doom and picked up the win. And yeah, this gets 7 out of 10 from me. Really good match this. Gallus still retaining, kind of maintaining their dominance over the feud. Be interesting to see where they go here. Now they've beaten them twice, but yeah, this was another really good match. Enjoyable from start to finish, and right result for me, so 7 out of 10. Nathan Fraser was then hosting his own talk show called Hitting Her Home Truths, and talked about his injury. He said it was about okay to lose a world-class athlete, and the best thing to do was to try again. And yeah, hopefully he's back in the ring soon, because he's bloody great. But it's then time for Mars Bourne versus Noah and Dar. Incredibly, this is Noah and Dar's first match on NXT, which I couldn't believe. But Bourne had control of the match early on and got some big strikes in the corner before Dar blocked the whip and got some big elbows and a soft kick. Mars then came back with more strikes, while Dar got a series of kicks to take Bourne down. Dar then went for the drop kick before Bourne went for a finish, but took a big knee strike. Dar then got a shining elbow and a modified shining wizard to pick up the win. And yeah, this gets a 6 out of 10 from me. I don't know, the match wasn't bad at all. I think it was really all about showcasing Noah Dar and his heritage cap, and it did its job here, but it was about being really remarkable, so 6 out of 10. Josh Briggs then walked out to Kiana James backstage, tell her that Brooks, so that he could get in to talk again. Brooks walked in wearing a fancy outfit and a ponytail before telling Josh that he should go, and he was tired of being treated like a kid. Brooks wanted nothing to do with Briggs, and the latter walked out, so continuing the dissension there. Before Odyssey Jones was in the ring, and Bron Breakker attacked him during his entrance. Bron said this is what happens when people get in his way and mock the fans before calling Chase U clowns. Duke Hudson walked out and lambasted Bron for interrupting their ceremony last week and challenged Bron to a match, but instead of facing him, it would be Andre Chase. So yeah, there's still tension within Chase U as well, but I don't know, kind of feel like this Bron character, I don't really know where it's going. Hopefully he gets called up at the draft, because I'm not too convinced what he's doing at the moment. Pretty Deadly were then backstage and challenged Tony Dean and Stacks to a trunk match next week, which is going to be interesting. For it's time for Roxanne Perez versus Zoe Stark. Stark started off strong, got some big strikes early on before taking a sunset flip. Zoe then was sent outside before blocking a dive and hit the lone dart on the apron. Zoe then blocked the pop rocks and hit a big half and half suplex on her own for a near fall. Zoe missed the Z360 before Roxanne recovered and hit the pop rocks, picking up the win. Indy Hartwell came out after the match and showed and said she owed a title match to Roxanne, and after a rematch sprint break-in. Tiffany Shashan came out to say she was sick of being overlooked for title shots. After some back and forth, Indy decided to make it a triple threat for the title next week. I mean, like, fair play to Tiffany Stratton. I don't think she necessarily deserved to get in Perez's rematch, but there we go. It gets 7 out of 10 from me though. Good match, and yeah, good to do a little angry from it. We then got another match from the women's division: Cora Jade versus Gigi Dolan. Jade had control early on and got an early near fall on Dolan before trying to submission hold. Dolan came back with a backstab before JC Jane came out to interfere. Dolan then took Jane out and sent her outside before tossing her into the steel steps and over the announcer's desk. Dolan got back in the room, but Cora took advantage of the stretch and hit a DDT before picking out the win. After the match, Lyra Valkyria came out and challenged Cora to a match next week, and Jade agreed. And yeah, setting up an interesting little feud there. And yeah, it's kind of like 2 feuds intertwining here, but it did alright, I suppose. Cora getting a win on her return makes sense as well, so it gets 6 out of 10 for me. Josh Briggs and Fallon Henry were then at the bar when Brooks and Jensen walked in. They made fun of Briggs and Henry before Brooks said that he meant everything he said to Briggs earlier. They then challenged Briggs and Henry to a mixed match next week as NXT continued. So yeah, it'd be intriguing to see where that goes. But it's then time for Apollo versus Dijak. Apollo was dominating early on before Dijak caught him on the apron and hit a stunner on the right before tossing Cruz outside. Back after a break, Dijak got a near fall off the discus boot before trying for the chokeslam. Apollo blocked the finisher and hit a knee for but Dijak countered the moonsault. Dijak then got the big chokeslam powerbomb, but failed to get the pin. Dijak then hit Feature Eyes before picking up the win, and after the match, he was about to attack Apollo, but Ilya came out and attacked him, setting up a feud between them with officials breaking up. So yeah, it gets 6 out of 10 from me. Not a bad match. Dijak getting a big win, and kind of felt like a needed win for him as well. And yeah, setting up a really interesting feud with Ilya, and they're going to have a great match going forward. And yeah, intrigued to see the feud in general too. JC James then backstage and said Gigi was a terrible person since she abandoned her little brother and ran away from home. Nice. And before Wesley took on Charlie Dempsey for the North American title, Wesley was out for the match and Drew Gulak attacked him before the bell, and the match started shortly after. Lee sent Dempsey outside and hit a big dive as we headed for a break. Dempsey got on the dragon screw and hit a gem for a near fall before Drew got on the apron before Wes hit a big kick to remove him and got the win off the cardiac kick. Gulak and Dempsey attacked Wesley after the match and took him out before standing over him with the belt. So yeah, setting up an interesting little feud here. Match wasn't bad. Kind of was dominated by the action really outside the arena though, which was fine. And it gets 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, kind of interesting, the feud they're setting up there. And yeah, all it was fine. But anyway, Grayson Waller was then out for his talk show, and Carmelo and Trick were his guests. They talked about who had more accomplishments before Waller said all he needed was a championship as he was a star already. Waller took shots at Mello, who called himself him before Mello said that Grayson was not the guy and was built for the championship. Mello pointed at Waller and didn't have any record before they continued to make fun of each other as NXT went off the air. So yeah, kind of like a way to really get the feud going, and yeah, in a way it worked. Did what it needs to do in a solid way, I suppose. So yeah, I'm kind of intrigued to see where it goes in the next few weeks. But yeah, good first little meeting between these two. But anyway, guys, overall this week NXT gets a 7 out of 10 from me. Yeah, I thought it was a really decent episode of NXT actually this week. Some good matches. And yeah, really building up some interesting views now towards spring breaking, which you love to see, of course. So yeah, on the whole, I thought it was a pretty solid 2 hours of wrestling this week. But anyway, guys, that's it for you. Thanks very much for watching. Like, share, subscribe. It's also comments down below for a show for daily wrestling news and subscribe to the channel. I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.